Okay, hello. Um, small little nudge. Not sure why my microphone. Why Windows decided my microphone suddenly had to change device ID. All sorted now. I am back live. Just saying hello, everybody. Welcome to the 2022.1 simLEGENDS Round 4 race. 2 races tonight. We are at the legendary Feldbergring. More about that in a moment. I'll start going through the motions so long, and let's see what is installed for us. So, as I mentioned, we are at the Feldbergring. It was a track that was phased out of fashion in, I think, 1955. It had become a little bit dangerous. There was talks about moving the track so that it's not running through a village, but ultimately ended up being let go completely. However, we are lucky. We are in the sim space. There are people dedicated to bringing these amazing creations back to life so that we can experience the awesomeness that is some of these old legendary tracks without the risk and danger. It's quite a long track. I do have a track guide video that I'll play in just a moment that Nick had put together for us. I'm thinking it's really going to be an interesting race tonight. We unfortunately don't have a lot of drivers tonight, and there is going to be quite a long outlap with only 10 minutes to go in, 10 minutes for the qualifying session. I do think it's poised to be an interesting race nonetheless. In terms of the weather, a weather forecast, I suddenly hope that this is the right one. 14 p.m. So 2 in the afternoon. It's a nice chilly 13 degrees with quite heavy clouds. I think the actual weather report was saying there's a bit of rain to be expected. There's also quite a strong wind. I'm not sure how much these cars are affected by the wind, but I'm sure if they are, it's not going to make things simple. As always, track grip, it starts out quite nicely, so already a nice rubbered in track. In terms of times in HLQ, see it's a little bit small, but Nick Hodgson managing a 4 minutes and 32.8 second lap there, with the next one being Richard on a 4 minutes and 34.8. So quite the time, and as I said, I don't think there's going to be a lot of margin for error on the race qualifying tonight. You're basically gonna get one lap, maybe if you're lucky get a second outlap, although I am starting to worry if we do have enough post time at the end of the lap set so that people can finish their laps. I do have a lap guide for people quickly, so let's see what Nick has put together for us.
Alright, good evening everybody and welcome to round 3 of the simLEGENDS series here at SimRace SA for the 2022.1 season. We are of course at Donington 1938 and we are in the Maserati 250F V12, and across the line we go looking for our hot lap, braking hard down into second gear, really modulating the car and watching our acceleration on exit through red gate. Really got to watch the car. It wants to squirm away from us. Look at us, really squirming all the way through red gate lodge, having to manage that power, making sure we don't end up in the trees on the exit there through Hollywood. Watch for that gate and down through the craner curbs, making them as straight as possible, carrying as much speed as possible, and down through this little dip, then on the brakes hard, second gear, making the corner as wide as possible through hairpin bend, up and over that little crest. Watch out, the car gets very squirrely on power. Miss the bridge, Starkey's bridge, turn in early for this left-hander and get on the power early again, and all the way through here, once again managing the power down to second gear for McLean's, and we'll get on the power early to get a little bit of oversteer to help us through the exit, and ride third gear all the way to the very top of the rev range and braking just down into second. Coppice house, watch out for the house, watch out for the house on exit. There it is, second gear, third gear, here we go. Now this is where we can really let the car open up, we can really give it some legs, some beam.
Right. I'm sitting here talking to myself. Hopefully people enjoyed that. Apologies, I realized that that was the wrong video. Not sure, maybe I renamed the file incorrectly and then didn't validate that it was the correct track. Either way, Nick doing very well with it, 4 minutes and 29 seconds, so he's got an extra bit of pace there. I think there is a lower track temp, so that's definitely helping everybody. I do hope that the server is set up correctly so that these drivers out, Richard and Francois, can still go and finish their current laps. Something is funky with Francois' time at the moment. Just hopping back to Richard. Richard is also showing as a 7-minute lap, so not sure what's happening there. Maybe my timing screen is freaking out a little bit. But at this rate, if Richard can just get a clean lap in, that should perhaps bump him in front of Christy, he's taking it slow and steady. But in my view, that is the smart choice. With how difficult these cars are to drive, you want to focus on setting a valid lap, and in the time frame of 10 minutes, only being able to do 2, maybe 3 if you're lucky laps, it's tough. If one small mistake on an area that you're maybe not as comfortable. Ooh, Richard running very wide. That sounded like he was on the grass. Still going though, so I'm sure he's still seeing a good lap time on the cards for him. Francois in front spins a little bit, and he lets him by quite nicely. Maybe that was just Richard carrying a good bit more speed. This is the hairpin, the hairpin where Richard previously spun. I'm hoping that he can just keep the car nice and straight, ease it through the corner. Yes, back in the power, get it, slide out, and it should be easy driving from here. Not to say that it is very easy. You do need to be careful and ensure that you don't end up spinning or just running slightly wide and into the barrier, because it's not a 100% flat foot run from here. Over the crest, just a quick lift there. Make sure that you don't run too wide. Richard right up to the barrier. This left, right, onto the main straight, and Richard crosses the finish line, and he does a 4:39, so not quite enough. Francois stays in 4th. Right, while we wait for everybody to get on, I'm gonna go for a quick ad break. I'll be back in just a moment. Alright, we bumped to the track. I hop back into the pits. Everybody is ready to go. I'm gonna try and focus on Christy there. Let's see if I can find a nice TV camera. Is this the best we have? Unfortunate. I have a sudden feeling that's my car that's stuck. Right, 16 seconds to go. Back to our TV camera. 10 seconds, lights are coming on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. drop the clutch, and away they go. So Nick gets off the line quite nicely. Richard is away, although Francho did get a better drive, but he's on the outside. That's not going to be a nice place to make an overtake stick. Someone running that wide there at the start. Unfortunate. Hopefully they can get it going. In the YouTube chat, Wesley, hello. Yes, we do miss you. If you want to come and race, come and join us. You know you want to. In the cobbles, tires are still getting used to this. Even though we do have tire blankets on, I have found that it's not as simple as slap it on and away you go. You do need to run these cars a bit so that the tires can find equilibrium with the temperatures, especially on these lower temperatures. So up ahead, Nick already pulling a 2.6 second gap on Christie, but Christie's going to have to watch out. Richard is right on his tail, and I am sure there's going to be a battle of wits to follow soon. Okay. 3 cars on tow. Christie, Richard and Franscha in the background there. Pieter Geldenhuys and Alan Deney are swapping places. Let me see. Pieter is still going. I don't see cracks on his windshield, so I don't think a lot happened. He might have just run a bit wide and had to back out to get himself back on the field. I will be keeping an eye on that gap though. I'm sure Pieter and Alan will be having quite the dice tonight. Pieter having shown that he's often able to pull a hat out of the a rabbit out of the hat with these cars and drive quite amazingly. Just showing his hand at being able to pick up these oldies but difficult cars to drive, but such amazing feeling cars once you hook them up. You're right on the tail of Alan there. Alan getting very sideways. Pieter just being a little bit more patient on the throttle, it seems. His strategy is to rather be in control than being a little bit wide. Ooh, that was almost, but he's carrying the speed nicely. Alan getting a little tail happy there. You'll need to be careful not to slide it too much, especially on the braking. These cars have paper discs for brakes, so you need to be very, very careful in not being too liberal with your brake application. But you also need to do it. Ooh, Pieter running there. Slightly wide into the barrier, but he does keep it going. I think Alan just having a small moment there. It's all about consistency. Let's go and have a look up in front. Richard has fallen back. The gap has expanded to about 1.5 seconds to Christie. Christie has expressed a bit of frustration before, saying these are tough cars to drive, and one momentary break in concentration can end up biting you. So I don't want to jinx Christie. Just want to say good luck. Keep your head down. This is the long game. You're second, but you're in a good position. Just keep at it. Pieter's name going red there. Did he jump to pits? I hope not. That might have been a lap invalidation. Yes, Pieter struggling around the hairpin there. Christie just throwing it around there. And just hear my car idling with a stuck throttle. I'll check that for the next race. So already, if Christie can keep this together, this is going to be a very tidy lap. I think his qualifying lap was a 4 minutes and 40 seconds. I might be wrong, but it's looking good for him if he can just keep it together. Let's gonna have a look at what Richard's last lap time was, or predicted lap time. So he's sitting on a 4:38. So Christie's looking like he's got about a 2-second pace advantage there. In the background, Pieter Geldenhuys has to jump to pits. Alan de Neyer, his name flashes in red. He's also jumped to pits. Well, either jumped to pits or drove into the pits. They were quite close. Let's go and see quickly if I can make head or tail. Ooh, Pieter has a very, very broken windshield there. Alan is also in the pits. I think they both went in for some repairs. Jumping up ahead, Nick, 4 minutes and 30 seconds is his predicted lap. While all of this is happening, I'll sort out the lap guide and I'll show it before the next. That's not right. Hey. So Nick giving it all the beans. Also running very close to his quali time. Running very close, but he has shown that he can quite consistently lock onto a lap time and drive that, whether it's race conditions or quali. He does not care. That is how he drives. Slow, well, not slow, smooth and consistent at the pace that he's comfortable with. He did get a little brave there. Almost thought that he was going to slide his rear into the barrier there. Let me jump to Bjorn. What is happening there in the background? Bjorn having a rough time. Unfortunate. He's trying to get it turned around. Gets going. Nobody behind him. He does have quite the gap to Pieter and Alan, so he's not going to be too worried. But the drivers do have to take into account how many laps you can run here, because this is where things can be a little bit tough now. I just realized with our 80% rule, it means that the drivers that can't complete at least an 80% race distance won't have their results classified. So Bjorn, keep at it. Just keep your head down. Try and stay on the same lap as Nick, and you should be fine. Richard did make his move past Christie. Unfortunately, I missed that. I was sleeping. But he's on a 4:39. Christie is on a 4:44. So Christie definitely having a bit of drama there. I do see it's after that final big hairpin. So maybe Christie struggling a bit there. Not quite getting the line that he was looking for. Richard absolutely... Oh no, not Richard, Christie. You're just running it right up to the fence. He's going to want to be coming back at Richard soon. He does have the pace. I am confident that he can bring the battle back to Richard if he just puts his mind to it. Franco Erasmus there, currently running in 4th. He's had maybe a bit of an up and down quali. I think it might have been him that ran into Richard there at the hairpin. But he's looking relatively comfortable. Did 4:42 now. And he's about at his pace. So, as I said, it's all about keeping your head down and keeping it going. By my count, I think we should be seeing 7 laps, maybe 8. I'm just doing some quick math. Gonna be interesting to see how this shakes out. Ooh, that is Christy facing the wrong way. No, Christy. Oh, now I feel bad because that is definitely commentator's curse. Saying someone should be able to do something and then causing them drama. I apologize. So Richard is about 7 seconds ahead of Francho there, but Nick has managed to pull a 20-second gap already. Remembering all of these corners, it's no small task. We did drop the minimum amount of laps required for this race during HLQ, purely because having to do 15 laps, that would mean you're going to be busy for at least an hour. But hopefully people have spent a bit more time just memorizing it, and even then it is still a tough track to master. I am seeing that our event is likely going to be a little bit longer, so let me just push back the time for the next server to go up. To the drivers that forgot to RSVP for the first race, practice. You still have time. Run a few laps. Make sure that you're ready if you're on the stream. More than welcome to sit in and have a watch, but make sure that you're ready. It's proving to be a really tough track for the drivers tonight. Let's go and see. I switched to Christy. Christy is about 14 seconds up on his delta. He was facing the wrong direction on the start, about more or less of this lap. So 15 seconds, while being a lot, I don't think it's too rough, having to consider that he had to turn the car around, which is no small task on these behemoths. Christy getting a little bit out of shape there, but he manages to keep it together. Really pushing hard, almost 300 kilometers an hour there. Not quite, but you're getting close considering when these cars were built. Through the left, right. Throw the car through. Full commitment. Just edge up on the track there. And go start a next lap. You can do this. keeping a close eye there up ahead. Francois still 6-7 seconds shy of Richard, so Richard just slightly extending the gap there. I'll check back with Christy in a moment. Let's go back to Bjorn. He's also having a bit of a lonely race. He's just started a lap. 6.7 seconds up on his delta, so also still a bit more time. Not quite at his race pace yet. As I mentioned, really tough track. Especially corners like that. It's deceiving as you're arriving there. Bjorn's windscreen smashed up a bit there. I'm wondering, was that steering offset that he had to apply because of a bent suspension? I'm not sure. It does look like he's got a bit of a dead zone there in the middle that he has to work around. That's gonna make it tough, but it should be doable. Slightly sideways, but he keeps it together and floors it out there. So he's still almost 7 seconds, 6.5 seconds up on his delta. Should be able to push that a bit more. Bjorn unfortunately didn't set a valid lap during quali, so I'm not sure 100% what his pace level should be. 13 minutes left to go. I'm not gonna even try. Not gonna try and count the laps. We'll get an idea closer to the time how many laps are left. I do want to quickly look at Francois. Francois did his last lap was a 4:40. Currently on track to do a 4:39. He's been very consistent tonight. Keep your head, keep your nose clean, keep your head in it, and just keep running. It's a bit of an endurance battle, even though it's just 30 minutes. Christy, on the other hand, his best was a 4:42. I'm sure he can do better with his delta where it is currently at 7 seconds. He should be able to close that gap to Francois. He's not going to be able to close it completely. That's a 16-second gap that he'll have to close, and there will not be enough laps in this race to necessarily guarantee that. Ooh, Richard dropping back ever so slightly from Nick. Just want to go and check. Richard is still going. Oh, that's through the hairpin. He's just taking it very cautiously, making sure that he can get around there. Do want to try and hop back to Christy as he's approaching the hairpin here. Gets the car around nicely. Back on the power. That's going to be a 4:36. Just keep your nose clean now. It's all about getting through this last fast sweeping section. So Richard's best lap time a 4:38. And Christy on track to do a 4:36. Christy definitely showing that if he can keep his nose clean, he does have the pace. He's expressed the frustration. I feel for the man. It's unfortunate, but I want to see him. I want to see him perform tonight. Second race, he should be bringing it, and bringing it hard. Crossing the finish line for a 4:36.2. So Christy's fast there. Richard knows that he's got a good gap behind him, so he's not necessarily under too much pressure. More than happy to take on the second position finish there. Hopping back to Nick. Just want to see his best lap time, 4:28.2. Nick has been absolutely flying. He is 1 second up on his current delta. Last lap wasn't as blisteringly fast. Yeah, James, that is definitely a pretty substantial gap that Nick has there. It's interesting to me how the gap can kind of grow much quicker on these longer tracks. On a shorter track where your mistakes are maybe limited to once or twice a lap, with a track like the Feldbergring, you can easily make a mistake 4, 5, 6, maybe even 10 times, and that just compounds the issue so much more. Not even to mention that just memorizing this track is a bit of a pain. Like, it's really difficult to do. I will warrant to say, I think if Nick finishes this lap, he's going to be on his second last lap. So he's done 4 laps, 5. Yeah, okay, I think I was right. Maybe 7 laps. Which is making me wonder now. A minimum of 5 laps required for race distance. So Alan, even though he might be quite a ways behind, he's keeping at it, making sure that he can get that finish, bring home those points. Speaking of, that is Alan a little bit ahead. He's running around the 5-minute mark. If 5 minutes is his best, then he's likely taking it very cautiously, making sure that he can finish. Because first you have to finish. I do think at this pace difference, Nick is going to be overtaking him on the next lap. Because Nick has been absolutely flying. So he's crossing... Alan is crossing for a lap of 5 minutes and 4 seconds, while Nick behind him, flying down the main straight, carrying so much more speed, it seems. He did a 4:31.3, so a good 30 seconds faster than Alan. It's not a question of if, it's a question of where on this exact lap. 5 laps down, 2 laps to go. I'm gonna stick with Nick just to see that as he's arriving on the rear of Alan. And even in these cars, it can be tough letting someone by, and it's even tougher when someone is trying to overtake you. If you lose it or just run slightly wide, or the tail gets slightly happy there, it's very easy for the person behind you to be carrying so much more speed that it causes you a bit of strife. Nick closing in on Alan there. Alan making the decision, rather make it safe on the straight where he can guarantee a clean overtake for Nick. So that has cost Alan about 5 seconds. Nick sliding there. He does keep it together. I'm going to hop back to Christy now. Christy just taking it very, very chill. Is that Francho that he's arriving on now? Francho must have made a mistake. So, this is on the penultimate lap. Christy might be able to squeeze by. Christy has shown that even though his pace is a little bit inconsistent, he does have ultimate faster lap speed. So, getting to the rear of Francho is going to be his main task now. Francho has showed that he's also not completely infallible. He's 13 seconds up on his delta. That's a definite mistake. And it's a mistake that Christie is now going to try and capitalize on. Bjorn doing a best lap time for him, 4:51. Curious to see Christie 3 seconds. Yes, that's about where I picked him up, was 3 seconds up on his delta. Francha seems to have gotten a bit of a hurry up there. He's not letting Christie close up on that gap so quickly. 440, Francha is on track to do a 451. So Christie doing now round about the same lap time as what Francha had been doing all night. My heart is throbbing in anticipation. This could come down to a very late, last minute move. And it's going to be tough. I can see this coming. It's going to be a very, very tough. Just catching wind. It sounds like Peter Geldener is having some technical difficulties there. Power had went out, so that was not a rage quit from his end. That was an unfortunate event. That's racing. That's the tough part here. Oh, Francha right up to the barrier, into the hairpin. This is where a lot of drivers have had their laps made or braked. Francha's throwing out the rear there. Christie gets out nicely. I think Christie's going to have the run here. I'm going to switch to an onboard of Christie. Ooh, that gap looked like it was coming down, but also it's just not quite there yet. So Nick has already started his last lap. Come on, Christie, just be patient. Not too patient, but be patient. Good commitment in the speed there. A little bit early perhaps on the brakes. No, Francha was a bit late on the brakes. He did run wide, and that has lost him quite a bit of speed. Christie just being hesitant behind. He knows that there is a twisty bendy section in town, which is not going to be fun, especially with these high curbs. And the downhill section not making it much easier. But slow in, fast out. Rear just stepping out on Christie. I'm going to switch back. Back to Francha. Francha is on track to do a 4:39.9. Christie, a 4:38.4. So he's lost a bit of time in that first section of corners. He's going to be wanting to focus on closing that gap. We have 30 seconds left on the clock. Okay, there might be a bit of downtime in between these races, but it's so difficult to judge when everybody will be finishing. I think currently the furthest behind the leader will be Bjorn Buchner. He is a good 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Ooh, it's gonna be tight. Where is Nick? He's coming up to the hairpin, so he'll be finishing soon. Just hopping back to Christie. Really closing up on Francois there, it seems, but just not able to capitalize just yet. This might come down to a run on that last straight. We have to just lift over the crests. Keep the pace up. Not too hard on the brakes. Into this right-hander down the hill. Drivers have said this is a really, really tight, difficult corner to get right. Christie just clipping the barrier there, but keep it going, keep it going. Shouldn't be too much of a bother. Nick finishes. He takes home the W for himself. Richard will take a well-deserved second. So Nick managing to do 8 laps. According to my count. Christie just at the edge there and into the hairpin. This is where it. This is the difficult part. Francois again maybe getting a little bit squirmish there. Richard should be crossing the finish line in a bit. I think Alan was right behind Nick. Alan crosses the finish line. He takes home 6th position, just kept his drive clean. Oh, we're on the main straight. Unfortunately, I don't think the toe plays that much of a role. But we'll see. Ooh, Christie right at the edge there. I don't think this is enough. I don't think there's enough in this for him. Ooh, very wide. But he does bring home 4th. And I think he's shown that he has the pace to get a podium spot tonight. Just hopping back to Bjorn now. Why can't I find Bjorn on my list? Bjorn, one of the last drivers still out on track. I will follow him still. Our server is launching in just a bit. And then I will take an ad break and we'll be back as soon as we're ready. Right, Bjorn coming up to the hairpin. Slow it down, take it easy. There is no rush. Just bring the car home. Well-deserved drive for him. This is a really, really tough track. Any driver that can get it across the finish line should pat themselves on the back. Because I'm sure this is a grueling race. It can potentially be as grueling as an endurance race. Throw it around the corner, and Bjorn will bring back a 5th position finish for him. It was tough. I'm sure he's very tired now. Hopefully he can get out of the server and up and running in the next race very soon. I'm gonna go for a quick ad break. I'll see everybody in just a bit. Alrighty, we're back. I do have next lap guide video queued up. There is about 5 minutes left in this practice session, so should be enough for that to play out and get us into the next session. Enjoy. Thanks, Nick, for doing this for us.
Right, good evening everybody and welcome to round 4 of the simLEGENDS series here at SimRace SA for the 2022.1 season. We are at Feldbergring, we are in the Maserati 250F and we are absolutely flying across the line, looking for the braking marker just before the 200 as you cross the start finish line. Get the car turned in nice and early for turn 1 for that right-hander so you can get back on the power, staying in 4th gear all the way up this little hill. And straightening out this curve, braking a little bit early and down early to 3rd gear so you can immediately start accelerating down the hill. Watch managing the oversteer, of course, braking again early because the cobbles really are slippery. Getting the car turned in nice and tightly here so we can get on the power early and accelerating out along these cobbles. You can hear just how much the car is complaining all the way through this section into 4th gear a bit early. But in through the left-hander, flicking the car around, down to 2nd gear, down to this right-hander. Could have done that a bit better, kept a little bit tighter and got a better exit there. But as we keep going over this ridge, 3rd gear all the way, just managing the car, managing that oversteer, getting the car turned in early for that right-hander so we get a nice clean straight acceleration down that little hill and allows us to line ourselves up for one of the most crucial corners on the circuit. This uphill section, you want to get the best acceleration you possibly can here. Now looking up and over the hill, bit of a blind rise, but it's okay. Absolutely flat in 4th gear, braking just before there, nice and sideways, managing that, looking for the dirt there on the inside apex as our reference point, back on the power, down to 2nd for this left-hander. Again, I could have turned in a little bit later there, maybe got a better exit, and flat on the gas once more into 4th gear all the way through this section. Just managing the car once again in that oversteer, turning in early and getting on the power early for this corner because it's so wide. You can do that, and then keeping the car nice and tight through this section, making it as short as possible, needing the minimal amount of steering input as well. Up this hill, once again, hills up the hill, very critical to get the best acceleration you possibly can, braking between the 150 and 100 there, and really pushing the boundaries of that barrier on the right hand side. Same over here as on the left hand side, then the right hand side, then the left hand side once again, keeping it nice and tight here to get on the gas early so you can then get into 3rd gear early, line the car up through this right-hander section so you can be absolutely flat through the whole through that whole section, up and over this hill, blind rise. We don't need to worry, you can be flat through this BP signboard, just managing the car over the crest and then preparing for this left-hander here. And this is the most critical braking point in the whole lap virtually, and you want to get yourself nice and tight for the exit there because it will want to throw your car off. The camber is not helpful there whatsoever. As we come down the hill at the 150, we're looking for a braking marker just to get the car turned in and back on the power nice and early once again. It's such a bumpy track that you can often short shift to get the maximum grip. Braking just between the 150 and the 100, throwing the car in the section. Down the hill we go once again. Now we're looking to try and get the maximum out of 4th gear here. And make sure we get lined up for these quick corners. You can see how much I'm having to feather the throttle just to make sure I don't fly off into the barriers on the right hand side there. Braking just at the 200 because we're flying at this point. Down to 2nd gear, down to 1st, getting the car sideways through the hairpin and accelerating out in a straight line. It's an uphill as well, so you've got to get that acceleration absolutely spot on. Easy to lose 2 seconds there if you're not careful. But now we're off into one of the easiest parts of the track, thank goodness, because it's so long. This is where we can start to relax just a little bit, and I do say just a little bit because you can never quite relax here. That sort of little flick to the right is very much a nothing corner. What you want to make sure is that you line yourself up nicely here, keep the car on the inside, manage it, because you want to be on the right hand side for this left hand and be absolutely flat through here, then this little chicane you can take absolutely flat. Look at that. Just flick the car and there you see the box sign. Missed that. We're right on the edge of traction there. And we'll cross the line, braking as we do for the 4-minute 29.515.
As always, thank you so much, Nick, for giving us some insight into what a fast lap on this circuit looks like. We are in overtime for the practice session. I think it might be helpful for drivers to bump to pits now instead. Otherwise, we're going to end up sitting here for another almost 5 minutes. So my camera does jump to Rainier, who's still out there. He had to miss the first race, but he and Stefan Herbst, they're in it now tonight. So he's probably still trying to do some practice laps here. Well, I hope that he'll see that he's the only one out. But either way, it is glorious just hearing the engine roar and seeing the drivers slide the car around the corner there. Ooh, he runs very, very wide. That must have been an invalid lap. Oh no. I thought that was a next session. I should not be doing that. Hey! Rainier realizes what's going on. Everybody bumps to pits. We are still in overtime for the practice session. However, let's see what happens when the drivers get out. I think because they're going to have quite a long outlap, I'm going to go to a quick ad break. I'll see everybody in just a bit. Quickly recap that. Stefan Herbst, having shown that he was quite quick in HLQ, he did a 4:38.0 there, just off the back of Christy Simon. And Rainier also way up there, so I'm sure we should be seeing quite a spicy battle for the podium tonight. Predicting that Rainier and Richard might be the ones battling a bit there, and then Christy and Stefan, as well as Francois. Francois has shown that he can keep his cool quite nicely. Oh no, why did Stefan disconnect? That's unfortunate. While I wait, perhaps, If you're interested in racing with us, we still have 2 rounds left. That is a total of 8 race nights. You can head on over to www.simracesa.co.za. Find the sign up form, fill it in, and one of our admins will get back to you. We do ask a minimum donation of, I think it's 150 Rand, to take part in the series. And to date, we have managed to, let me just grab those numbers quickly. To date, we have managed to get why does it not show? To date, we have raised a total of 127,000 Rand 500, 127,558 Rand for various charities. Our total for this season, the 2022.1 season, stretching from January until July, we've managed to raise just over 26,000 for Abba. They're an adoption specialist agency that I think they help to get babies placed with adoptive parents. And they've mentioned for every 20,000 Rand that we can bring in for them, that's one child in need that manages to get some attention. Almost thought that there was a bit of a pile up there. I see ahead of Rainier, but it's not quite a pile up. It's just all the cars going around very tight corners. Alan's still in the pits. Alan may be thinking, I'm happy, let me know, I don't need to qualify, I'm more than happy starting from the back. But to that, I would say, Alan, there is more than enough track for you to play on. Go out, do laps. Don't give up any opportunity to do laps. You're not paying for tires and fuel. You don't have to worry about that. You can just go and run some laps. That was a bit loud. Just give me a moment. Let me try and fix my microphone quickly. Oh, okay. Accidentally touched the wire coming out of the microphone and then had a bit of a pop in my ears. Right, next starting his lap, they're already on a predicted time of about 4:33, although looking at that time it's coming down, so should be expecting 4:28, 29s as we had previously seen. Interesting that the first lap had actually registered. I don't think the first lap is actually a valid lap, but either way, it doesn't matter. We are here to see these drivers go absolute bonkers and give it their all. Nick just showing what he can do. He's put together a pretty decent lap for the lap guide. He actually sent me 2 because he managed to find an extra bit of time. I'm not sure where he managed to find it, but he found about 2 seconds extra compared to his previous lap, so he had to redo it to give people a better idea of what an optimal lap looks like. I think he is currently being followed with by Christy Simon, Franco Erasmus and Bjorn Buchner. So hopefully those drivers don't get too tangled up with one another. I am curious where Rainier is hanging out. I'll check in just a moment though. Nick again showing about 12 seconds lost when you're exiting the pits there at the start of your lap. So not an insignificant amount of time if you do need to come and pit. Of course, there aren't any pit stop requirements for this race. It's just a flag to flag 30-minute race, with the added pressure of a very short qualifying session. That's very squirrely and almost up to the barrier, but Nick keeps it together. He's still 12 seconds up on his delta. Alrighty, so Nick going to finish his first lap. Should be enough time, yeah, more than enough time for him to start a second lap. I am curious to see how many drivers are going to be thinking of starting second laps here. I suspect everybody is quite, well, more comfortable with the cars right now. Just keep pushing it right to the end edge there. Around this last corner, don't run too wide, otherwise you risk invalidating your lap. So Nick's gonna come across the line for a sub 4:30 seconds, so just, ooh, and he bins his the start of his next lap, so he'll not be able to continue doing anything with that. Christy Simon on a 4:35.4, that is a whole 2 seconds faster than his HLQ time. He's decided, from what I could see, I'm doing another lap. I can probably improve on that still. Francois does not a blisteringly fast lap, so not sure what happened there. Renier is going to cross the line, and he does a 4:40, so 5 seconds off of Christy there. Not quite his best, but there is still a whole lap in it for him if he can keep it nice and clean. I'm gonna quickly jump to Bjorn. Bjorn has started another lap. He is looking a little bit all over the place, but I think he can still improve. He's looking comfortable enough that he can still improve his lap time. There is a 4-second gap to Renier, so not quite as much time to find. Richard is coming in. He's ending a lap now. Sandplakken. That's the corner name. Interesting name. So Richard not his absolute fastest lap here. That's not going to put him ahead of Christy. He can't remember. Did he qualify second? No, he did not qualify second in the previous race. So Christy showing he's got a bit of pace in him tonight. And Stefan Herbst bumps into third with a 4:35.8. That is 1/100th of a second faster than Christy. I'm sure Christy is at this moment just keeping an eye on what Richard is doing and then making up his mind. Richard crosses the finish line for a 4:37.8. Not going to be quite enough. He is still ahead of Renier Leach now, but Renier is still out. Francois, he has not completed a full lap yet. 24 seconds off, so his last lap was invalid. That's what's going on there. His last lap was invalid. That explains it. Okay, Francois kind of, this is a bit of a make and break situation for him. He is sandwiched between Christy Simon and either Renier Leach or Bjorn Buchner. Renier, he is... I don't know why my delta is all over the place for him, so I'm not sure. But that said, I don't think he went faster in Sector 1. It's showing up as a plus 2.7, so maybe not as much time in his lap as he's maybe hoping for. Christy Simon has said, no, I'm happy. He's decided to hop out, so it's just Renier, Bjorn and Francois out still. So that must be Bjorn in front of Renier then. Bjorn 2.8 seconds up on his delta. If he can get another 2 seconds, there's not a lot of lap left. That might put him in range of Renier, but I'm not putting it beyond Renier to be improving this lap though. Francois Erasmus, he's giving it his all because he knows that he has the pace in him. He is currently ahead. It's all going to come down to this hairpin for him though. Lightly touching the barrier there. I'm not sure if that invalidated his lap. We'll have to wait and see. He is still going for it. At this moment, I think he is just trying to do his best to try and pip Bjorn for 6th position there. Not sure if he's going to have enough time in him for a near Leach or Richard ahead of Leach there. But well done to Nick, taking pole again with an amazing time. But Christy also showing he's right up there with Stefan Herbst, looking forward to seeing that pan out. Okay, Francois, flat out through there. Keep it flat and keep it on the tarmac. Don't run too wide. Cross the finish line. For a 4:39, that will pip Leach, but only just. Bjorn crossing the finish line. Not good enough. But can Renier improve? And Renier does. He takes second away from Christy there. And yo, right. Sure, okay. Quick ad break, then we'll be back with the race start. Alrighty, we're back. Up to the grid. I need to find Renier Leach, so I'll just bump to Christy there. Let's see. TV cameras. Oh, yes. The TV cameras aren't great. One would think that that little Marshall box up ahead... Oh, no, there is a TV camera tower there. But I think it might not be focused onto this side. I was actually hoping for a better start there. Right. Lights starting to come on. I just zipped up my headphone cable. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lights. Drop the clutch and away they go. Nick very squarely on the start there. Christy has managed... Oh, no, not Nick. That was Renier Leach. Christy almost managing to get him get an overtake there. But Stefan is going to be all over the back of Christy right now. In the background as well. Let me just try and see if... looks to be like Richard and Francois is getting up close and personal with one another. all the drivers just keeping it smooth. It's really slippery on these cobbles. Just giving a sense of what this looks like. So Richard is ahead of Francois, but he's trying to just catch the back of Stefan Harps there, although I think, judging by quali times, there's not quite enough time in it for him. I do want to jump ahead to Christy Simon. Christy looking, showing his nose there on Rainier Leach. Next corner is a right-hander, so Christy is on the outside line there. It is going to be a difficult... Ooh, running very close, just backing out there. Rainier getting a little bit sideways there. Christy hugging the apex and accelerating out. It is giving Stefan Herbst a bit of an opportunity to have a look there. And Rainier... Ooh, Rainier spinning out. That's unfortunate. Does he manage? Okay, he's waiting, letting everybody by. Let's look at... I'm gonna be keeping my eye on Rainier tonight. He will be going for a drive back. Did lose a bit of time, but not gonna worry about him too much. And Richard's falling down the order as well. Richard had a bit of a moment. His car looks to be going straight-ish. Hopefully it's not too much of an issue. He does rejoin in front of Rainier though, so hopefully he can also focus on getting a bit of a drive back there. Stefan Herbst is hounding the back. Ooh, Alan Denayer and Bjorn Buchner swapping places. I'll switch back to that if there is a better gap soon, but right now I just want to see what Stefan and Christy is going to be battling for. Nick already pulling a 4.5 second gap, less than 3 minutes into this race. But that is also understandable because Christy and Rainier has been battling. Stefan managing the overtake there. He is running wide. Christy goes for the cutback and he makes it stick, so Christy stays ahead. Christy comes in very hot. That was unfortunate. I don't think he's going to be very happy with himself there. Just want to double check. He is still going. Not sure what his damage situation is looking like. Let's see. Yeah, his steering is a little bit offset, so he's going to be trying to manage that. It's going to cost him dearly. Ah, that's so unfortunate. I was looking forward to a race-long battle for this. Right. Okay, Richard and Rainier Leach is on their drive back there, both trying to quickly make their way up into the rear of Bjorn Buchner and Alan Denayer. Bjorn getting a little bit close for comfort there, maybe. Oh, and there's a slight touch. I think someone got spun around. Bjorn Buchner got spun around. Hopefully he's not stuck. Right, so Rainier has managed to get himself up into 5th with the altercation between Francois and Bjorn. Alan all the way up into 4th, showing that you don't need a good qualifying session to have a good start to your race. It's about keeping your nose clean, getting the car around the lap there. So these drivers crossing the finish line with 5 minutes down on the clock. What happened? For a moment, my timing screen bumped Christy, so Christy jumped to pits. Okay, that might explain why my remote app is freaking out. For a moment, I thought Nick had made a mistake and Christy managed something amazing. Christy in the pits, Not sure what happened there. Maybe he's decided to try and rather go salvage things by pitting and getting some damage fixed. He did have quite a bad offset there on his steering wheel. Stefan Herbst currently running comfortably in second, on pace for a 4-minute 35 lap time, which is it's about what he was doing for quali. So I'll be keeping an eye out for drivers and their consistency throughout the race. If he can run a good consistent race, he'll definitely have a good finish here. Ooh, and as I'm saying that, I almost worry about him running too wide. Renier has managed to work his way up into 4th now. And I see Alan dropping down the order. What happened, Alan? Maybe Alan is just letting them by, not comfortable battling with them just yet. Just trying to think about the race and the mantra of first you have to finish, making sure that you can do that. Francois is having to absorb a lot of pressure from Richard though. Ooh, that windscreen is a little bit cracked up. But from what I can see, his steering is still straight, so he's only got a bit of body damage there, not any suspension damage that will be causing him other issues during the lap. These cars not being that aerodynamic. Yes, James, I am definitely looking forward to a comeback. I'll be checking lap times when Stefan and Richard Renier crosses the finish line after this lap to see if there's a possibility. There is a bit of a gap now though. This is an interval view, so there's a 20+ second gap between Stefan and Renier. Renier will be carrying a bit of damage though. Ooh, Richard running wide. He does manage to keep it on the road though. Maybe not quite expecting Francois to be as slow on that downhill right-hander. Alright, so the gap between Francois and Richard just relaxing a bit. Francois is not quite shaking Richard just yet. Right, so now that Renier has done a lap time, just want to quickly look. Francois does a 4:43.6 as his fastest lap now. Having a look at Richard, 4:33.7, so they're about evenly paced. Should be spicing up into quite the battle, I think. Richard has shown that he does have a bit more pace in him though, so he's probably just trying to study Francois and get an idea of where to strike. Up ahead, Stefan Herbst, his best well, his last lap time at 4:36.8, so he's maybe taking it a little bit more cautiously, not quite at his quali pace. Renier Leach doing a 4:38.2, and he is losing a bit of time. He's about on his lap time. He's going to have to be shaving more time off if he has hopes of catching up to Stefan. Ooh. Manages to catch that at the last moment, and that just cost him another 0.3 of a second. And all of these small little mistakes can easily add up to multiple seconds a lap difference between drivers, and that is why it's so difficult to run consistent laps. But that said, it's a great comeback for Renier to have gone from second all the way to the back and back into third. It shows that he doesn't let it phase himself that much if things go awry, and he can just focus on getting through the laps, getting to the end of the race as well. Back on Richard, he is 3 seconds, 3.8, almost 4 seconds up on his delta, so definitely closing the gap on Francois. Francois is also almost 4 seconds up on his delta, getting closer to about his quali pace from race 1. And in the background, what happened? Alan Deneyer and Bjorn Buchner swapping places. Didn't follow the gap as closely as I probably should have. But Alan now just falling into line there. His best lap time by 4:56.1 compared to Bjorn's 4:43.7. So Bjorn definitely has quite a... Sorry, not Bjorn, Richard. Bjorn, yeah, 4:43.5. Bjorn definitely showing he has a significant pace advantage over Alan there. Might have just been a case that Alan decided, you know what, he's much faster than me. I don't have to fight him on this. Bjorn also on a bit of a recovery drive. I think he had a bit of a tangle there with Francois, who's now up ahead of Richard. But he is going to have to improve his lap times a bit if he has any hopes of catching them. It's either that, almost too wide. You need to be careful with dipping a wheel onto the grass, otherwise you can easily run into the barrier. He's going to have to shave off a few seconds compared to them if he's got any hopes of catching. This looks fast, but he just manages to keep it together there. And slightly widen into the barrier, but not enough to phase him. Francois has spun, and he has spun at the hairpin, the really tough hairpin. So that's promoted Richard up into 4th, and Bjorn can close that gap down. It's now less than 10 seconds. Francois showing in race 1 that he has a bunches of consistency, but if there's a bit of pressure, that's when things get a little too difficult for him. Richard up ahead doing his best of a 4:37. Francois lost a bunch of time. That's about 6 seconds that he lost. Maybe even 7 seconds that he lost on that last lap with the spin. Bjorn best of a 4:43.4, so he'll be looking to close that gap very soon now. Renier doing 4:36.3 on his last lap, which is also incidentally his best lap, and he is still in a... He's still got a negative delta there, so he's improving his lap times, just building himself into it, I think. Maybe not convinced that he'll be able to catch Stefan, just just trying to slowly work his way towards a better and better lap time instead of trying to push too hard. Nick up ahead, he is taking it very relaxed if he's 4 seconds down on his delta. But he does have all of the time in the world to do so. And as we saw in race 1, he did 8 laps. So I'm curious to see if he is considering running a little bit slower to only have to do 7 laps. Back at the back of the pack, Christy Simon. He is still well ahead of Nick there, so I'm not fully convinced that he'll be lapped towards the end of the race. We have 12 minutes left. He is about 10 seconds slower than Nick at the moment, which would put him, I think, roughly with 4 laps to go. Yeah, that's not even close enough for Nick to catch up. I think Nick would need to be another 10 seconds quicker. So Christy on his just focused recovery drive, get to the end, keep his head down, know that he can do this. I'll check back in with him a little bit later as well. Curious to see if he's going to be pushing to try and get some faster laps out of it towards the end of the race. Where are the gaps small right now? I think Francois Erasmus. Richard, last lap a 4:37.1. Francois 4:46. So, okay, yeah, they haven't completed a lap yet. Francois coming to the Sunplakken hairpin. A turn that he has struggled a bit before. He is a good 2 seconds up on his delta, so he's showing that there is more pace in the car. It's when he's being followed by someone, he's maybe watching his rear view mirrors just a bit too much, trying to think of running defensive lines and not focusing on the task at hand, which is run a good lap. There's no sense in worrying too much about it. So Renier does 440 in his last lap. Stefan's last lap was a 441. Okay, there's still 20 seconds in that gap. I think Renier is fully aware that he's not going to be able to do that. Although Stefan is really pushing it hard, trying to also just improve his lap time. Let's see if we can catch... Oh no, Renier already started his lap. Richard is getting quite close to Renier though. Not going to be quite enough. I think that gap is going to be expanding a little bit more as we progress through this race. 10 minutes to go, about halfway there. Majority of the field have already started their 5th laps. 5th lap, not laps. Christy Simon, he is out of the hairpin on that long straight, heading towards starting his 5th lap. So at this pace, it's looking like everybody will be finishing on the lead lap at least, which again, as I'm saying, if you can get this car to the end of the race, pat yourself on the back. But if you can get this car to the end of the race on the same lap as Nick, who's just flying. I mean, look at him. He's taking it. Oh, his best time of a 4:27.7. He is absolutely hammering it. And going even faster now. Maybe there's a bit of a dragon that is awoken and seen there's potential for even more time to be found. Ooh, he's right on the cusp. So Bjorn quietly just still making his way back. Been putting in some decent laps, although he is starting to slow up a bit. Maybe not. Maybe seeing that the gap ahead is a little bit too big and he's not quite there to take it. So rather focus on getting across the finish line than trying to push too hard and make a mistake. Christy Simon last lap 4:38, so he should have been well up there. He should have been at least third or fourth, judging by the lap times that Renier and Richard is doing. Renier's best time 4:36, Richard's best time 4:37. So maybe in between Richard and Francois. It's unfortunate that he had run so wide, and it's oftentimes the case with these cars. You feel a bit like a passenger when things go wrong. It's not that you can always do a lot to fix the issue once it starts going awry. Understeer there for Richard, but he does manage to get around the corner. Renier locking up a wheel there. Luckily he gets the car turned in. That's my other fear, is locking up the front, and then it's really difficult to get them to grip up again and get that car rotated. Come on, keep it flat. Right, don't run too wide. Stefan is up on his delta by quite a bit, so he is also finding a bit of time. Very unfortunate that we didn't have Stefan in race 1 there. I think he would have enjoyed it as well. Delta just jumping all over the place, maybe showing that he's not taking the slow and fast out approach serious enough. Oh, Renier must have made a mistake, because Richard is now closing in this gap by quite a bit. This is going to spice up for quite the battle, I believe. Just double checking Renier's last lap time. Yeah, he's 8 seconds up on his delta, so he must have made a mistake in turn 1. And Richard slipping by on the inside can make it stick, and he does. I don't think it's going to be tight for these two. Richard is... this is going to be a battle that goes to the end. Just going to quickly have a look up front. Nick, yes. Okay, so Nick is halfway through his lap now. He will be starting his final lap when he crosses the finish line. And back to Renier. It's now 11 seconds down, up on his delta, so down. Don't always know which word to use. But hopefully he can not be too phased by it. Focus on keeping your head down get on the back of Richard there and apply some pressure. Let's see some racing. Ooh, that's very, very wide, and I think that is probably the nail in the coffin. He tried. Yes, if that is what straight looks like, he is going to have a bit of a tough time. So 1.5 laps left for Renier. He's going to have to focus. Bjorn Buchner and Francois Erasmus switching places, just getting back to them. Francois not having the best of laps on his last lap there, and Bjorn silently just putting in decent laps, arriving on the back of him and getting the overtake. It does look like Francois is struggling a bit with traction, so let me quickly see. I have a slight suspicion Francois also now has a damaged suspension. Once he gets out on a straight-ish part, I'll be able to tell. I think Francois has a bit of suspension damage there, so he's dealing with a bit of an upset. Oh, that is a tough cookie to crack. Richard has now extended that gap between him and Renier to 15 seconds. Renier seems to be losing heaps of time now. And if he's not careful, Bjorn is going to be catching him very soon if he can't get a hold of the car, get to grips with it. Just switch to Nick as he clips the curb there. So he is on his final lap. There's about 2 minutes of the session left, but he will be finishing this lap. So there should be about a minute to spare. Not to spare. There should be about a minute of extra running time. Alan just quietly managing to do his 4-minute 54 seconds. I think I saw him doing a 4-minute 50 second in the previous race. So not quite as comfortable in the car as he might be hoping. But the point is, he is currently ahead of Christy Simon. That said, Christy is a... Ooh. This is again going to be an interesting last lap, I believe. Because Christy is quite a bit quicker than Francois. Not Francois, than Alan. About 10 or so seconds. Let me just double check. Christy's last lap for 4:40 and Alan's last lap was a 4:57, so 17 seconds quicker than him in the last lap, and there's about a 25 second gap. I don't think it's going to be quite enough for Christy to catch though. Bjorn, on the other hand, he is trying to push. It's maybe spotting that Renier is slightly slow and ahead of him there. Renier's last lap, a 5-minute 13-second lap. That's not great, and he's already 3 seconds up in his delta. If he can't keep it together, this is likely going to open up an opportunity for Bjorn to slip by. So Renier needs to get on top of the handling of the car after his incident there. Right, so Alan's last lap, a 4:57.6. Christy crosses the finish line. He's doing a 4:39.6. So quite a bit of time focus on keeping it clean. Alan has shown that he's relatively consistent. He does get a little bit flustered every now and again, so Christy might be able to snatch another place there if he can keep things clean on his end. Nick ahead, still finding even more time. He might even have a sub 427 on this lap. Ooh, that almost looked very quick. Just a bit slow out of the corner there. So Nick is on the home stretch towards the finish line now. There's still a few corners to navigate. You need to be careful. You can't just floor it. Just feather off of the throttle every now and again and make sure that you get the car turned through there. I am keeping my eyes peeled to see what Bjorn and Renier Leach is going to be doing though. But I'm following Nick as he is going to be crossing the finish line soon. Trying his utmost best to set a fastest lap here. Not going to be quite what he maybe wanted, but he does a 4:27.2. Blisteringly quick. What a finish. Right. Next driver, Stefan Hapst. He is also up on his Delta, managing to go faster. So he'll be able to just break past, oh, not quite. Maybe he'll be able to break past the 34.5 mark. Oh, and he loses a bit of time, maybe just deciding to not floor it as much. Bring it home. There's no need to rush unnecessarily. Yeah, he's lifting quite a bit through that chicane, making sure that there's no need for him to crash up. Right, so Stefan brings home second. Richard should be comfortable in third position there. Keeping an eye peeled there, Bjorn Buchler and Francois Erasmus is running a bit closer than I was maybe thinking they would. And Christy Simon, 10 seconds away from Alan. Not quite sure if there will be anything to see close to the end of the race, but we'll have to wait and see. So Richard bringing home a well-deserved third position finish for him. He's had a few issues with the first two races that he took part in, but I think this is a well-deserved third position finish for him. Right, heading to Renier. 15-second gap to Bjorn. Renier has managed to get a hold of himself. He's still not quite as fast as he had been. 17, almost 20 seconds up on his Delta. The car really struggling for grip. Slightly wide, get it back on the track, cross the finish line for fourth position. Hopping to Bjorn. Maybe getting a little bit closer than he maybe would have wanted. But he gets there in the end. Bjorn is going to take home fifth position finish for himself. Oops. Francois crosses the finish line in fifth, and Alan has managed to stay ahead of Christy there. Christy closing that gap down to 5 seconds on the very last lap. Whew. I'm gonna catch my breath. Looking at this, I think the finishing order is pretty much set. Why? Okay, Francois just finished in 6th position. I'm gonna hop on over to see if there is a bit of an interview that we can do. Let me do that. Hello, Nick Hodgson.
Hello, Sass. How are you?
I am fine, thanks yourself. You drove beautifully tonight.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it was a good. It was a good job. I enjoyed driving the car. This track certainly comes to you after a while. So I really got into it at the end.
I mean, I think you started out with a 28 quali time in the first race, and then next race went quicker, and now in the race itself, this last one, just you had a sub 27 in you there.
Yeah, I went quicker in both races than I did in my quali lap. But yeah, I think I saved the best for last and did a 27.2 right at the very, very end. Although I had made a small mistake and was carrying a bit of damage. I'd also not been very kind to my gearbox and engine, so I didn't have quite as much power as I should have. So yeah, definitely there is a 26 in there somewhere. But no, very, very happy with how it went.
I mean, ultimately happy with the balance. I saw you were doing some last minute tweaking there.
Yeah, like to be honest, I only played with tire pressures just on the server. I found it slightly compared to what I was practicing, which was pretty much the same settings, yet I still found I struggled with my left tire pressures. I had to raise them slightly, but yeah, otherwise everything kind of went to plan, which was fantastic.
Yeah, happy for you. There were luckily there were still a few battles up and down the field, but yeah, ultimately I commend each and every driver that managed to drive to the end there. This is a tough track.
Yeah, definitely. This is, in my view, by far the toughest track on the calendar. It's certainly the longest at just over 11 kilometers. So yeah, to learn the nuances of each corner is so difficult. And you know, to find the time to do that, it doesn't matter how long the track is, you still need to kind of go around that number of corners. But yeah, it was pretty challenging. I really enjoyed it. The scenery was amazing, and yeah, definitely turned out to be one of my favorites for this season, which I honestly wasn't expecting.
Oh, that is good to hear. I do know that Fat Alfie puts in a lot of effort with his tracks, so I've enjoyed driving on all of the stuff that he does, and he pays care to so much at like details and things, just making it look lived in. So yeah, I enjoyed watching it.
Yeah, I mean, if you the pits, right by the pits, the garages or sheds, I should say, behind the pits that you can barely see.
Mm-hmm.
And if you sort of take a trip there in sort of free roam mode, you can see that each garage has its own branding to it. So obviously you've got your Ferraris and your Maseratis, but there's brands there that you haven't heard of for years and years and years. So I mean, that shows huge attention to detail. I mean, he's even built half a castle, which is at the bottom of the hill as you go through the town. If instead of turning left, you went right. If you go off there, you can see kind of the beginnings of a castle in there. So it's yeah, there's huge amount of attention to detail here.
Sounds like I need to go do some exploring.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's fantastic. So yeah, can't wait for Monza next time as well.
Yeah. So that's next round for simLEGENDS, but next week we are at this name Barbagallo.
Yeah, Barbagallo. That's in Australia.
In Australia, okay, with the TC series, the Audi TT Cup cars. Looking forward to that one. I think I've not seen what the track looks like just yet, so this is going to be first contact for me, but you can tune in next week Monday. Ryan will probably be running that stream again. Anything to look forward, anything else that you're looking forward to for the next round of the various races, Nick?
Yeah, so obviously Barbagallo is going to be great because we've never raced there before ever, I think, in the history of SimRace SA. So that'll be interesting. Very short track, under a minute laps. So you know, we're going to be doing a lot of laps. So certainly with a long straight, there is opportunity to overtake or to push to pass. Definitely looking forward to Monza 1966 and the next Legends series, which of course will be in 4 weeks' time. That's going to be very, very interesting. And yeah, for the GP we've got coming up, we've got
Heart Lake Complex.
Yeah, which is obviously a mod track. It's not real, but that should be quite interesting with those GP cars. I'm keen to see how the guys get on with that. And then, of course, for the GT series, in ACC, we have Suzuka. So that's always going to be an interesting one, followed, of course, by Paul Ricard, which threw up pretty much the most exciting race in the GT Championship last year, and it will be in the dark again. So, yeah, still lots to look forward to.
Lots to look forward to, meaning head on over to, if you're keen to join, head on over to simracesa.co.za. Find the sign up form, submit the info, and get your donations in so that you can come and race with us. There is still plenty of fun to be had for this season.
Yep, always a battle to be had here at SimRace SA. It doesn't matter how good or how new or how much of a Sunday driver you are, you're pretty much always going to find a dice somewhere here, such as the community. And so I highly recommend anybody who's thinking about it to sign up today.
Yeah, that about covers it for me. Have a good night, everybody. Looking forward to this next race. We'll see everybody there. Cheers.
Cheers all.